I like that you have your ad name too, Michael.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is time for another edition of the Know Your Enemy podcast. My name is Michael Beck, your deputy editor behind thesteelcurtain.com. Joined as, by always, one Mr. Geoffrey, Benedict, film guru extraordinaire. I got to hype him up a little bit. Geoffrey, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. Any week after a win is a great week.
Yeah, love it. It hasn't been too many of those this year, but hopefully that trend continues. But we do have a special guest, like we do every week, and I want to get your last name right. Brett Davern, Bleav in Seahawks. Did I nail that?
Nailed it, man. Like tavern with a D or cavern. My mom didn't like it when I was a kid, and I said tavern. She was like, "Come on now, not all the booze. Let's go with tavern." So but yeah, rhymes with cavern or tavern or whatever you want.
Perfect. As long as I got it right, that typically means it's going to be a good show. But Brett, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. I'm doing great. I, as a Seahawk fan, maybe not so great, but personally, I'm okay.
Okay, there you go. Now, I guess the big question, obviously, but I guess I will say, first of all, it's probably pretty good you have the Steelers this year of all years to have that weird extra week. So kind of ripe for the picking, but...
Can I say something? I gotta say something. I'm sorry. I don't mean to just come in hot like this, but I hate the Steelers. I hate playing the Steelers. And I don't care if you guys stink this year. We kind of stink this year. But ever since what was it, 2005, 2006?
Yeah,
forget it. I hate everything about the Steelers. I hate the black. I hate the gold. I hate the towels. I hate the Roethlisbergers. I hate the cheesesteaks or whatever. I don't care. I hate
Philadelphia. Come on now.
Oh, sorry. The grinders, whatever you guys are into. I hate all of it.
Right here is my Heinz Ward Super Bowl MVP.
Yuck!
From that game.
Yuck! I'm gonna vomit. I'm gonna vomit all over the place. Do you have a picture of the holding call on Sean Locklear? Do you have that or the offensive pass interference on Jeremy Stevens? Do you have that?
Yes, the hand, the whole arm reaching out but not doing anything.
Do you have a picture of Ben Roethlisberger laying on the 1 yard line with the ball down around his waist, not even close to being over the goal line?
I thought the refs did a pretty good job.
Oh my God! How dare both?
You know what? It was better than that Colts game. It was better than the Colts game that year.
Listen, you guys, seriously, Seahawks, 3 Super Bowls, 1 out of 3. Both of them feel just robbed from us, right? Malcolm Butler took the other one from us with the Patriots. Referees took away ours with you. I don't know.
Don't worry, we've lost 2 Super Bowls too.
Yeah, exactly. Lost a couple of them, but probably did a little bit better in the big show.
Oh, man. I hate playing you guys. I swear. It's funny. Growing up, my kind of AFC team was kind of the Steelers a little bit after the Seahawks made the jump to the NFC. My dad, I think, because he grew up in Seattle before there was even the Seahawks, so he was like kind of maybe a Steelers fan and stuff. So I kind of had that. But after that Super Bowl, forget it. You got to take your terrible towels. I don't care where you go with them, but I don't like playing you guys. Hate it.
Well, now you got an opportunity on primetime football to a little bit of redemption. Although the Steelers typically struggle in Seattle, thankfully this one's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
with you guys coming out this way. But I guess it's the night game, so really time-wise doesn't matter too much. But the big guy in the middle, Russell Wilson, of course, with that nasty finger injury, he is not going to be suiting up. What do we got to expect here from Geno Smith in the offense? Do you think it's going to be a condensed playbook, or what are we kind of looking at here?
I'll tell you. I'll let you guys in on a secret from all Seahawks fans right now. There are deep, dark corners of the internet. And there are deep, dark, really dark Seattle fans that are kind of excited for this. I'm just going to be flat out honest. We've had Russell Wilson for 150 starts in a row, 149, something like that. And obviously we love Russell Wilson. He brought us our 1 Super Bowl, right? He's the man. We love everything he does. We buy all the products he endorses. We watch the Kids Teen Choice Awards. We buy the Sierra albums. We do whatever we're supposed to do. But honestly, our offense has been hot and cold this year. And after he goes out last game, Geno comes in, and we weren't able to do anything in the second half. And Geno kind of gets him moving. He gets rid of the ball fast. He doesn't take – he was kind of able to escape a little bit. He's a little bit taller, maybe. Some Seahawks fans are whispering that he can see over the line. Now, not me, guys. Not me. I'm not one of these Seahawks fans. But there are some Seahawks fans. So.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I think, look, you don't want to see Russell Wilson go down, but guys, our offense has been just hit or miss this year. I don't know how many Seahawks games you've watched, but like Russell's numbers have been awesome, but we keep losing games. He's like super efficient, not throwing any picks, but he doesn't throw the touchdowns or get the offense moving when we need him to, and we end up losing these games and falling short. So, it's going to be interesting, but I think honestly, and really, like I've seen all over Seahawks Twitter, like some people are kind of like whispering, like, what's going to happen here? Let's see what happens, And hey, Russell's been there forever. Like, let's see what happens with he watches a little bit. Maybe it'll light a fire under him a little bit more. Not as if he ever needs any more motivation or anything, but.
Breaking news: Seahawks fans are turning on Russell Wilson.
No. See, you Steelers guys. I knew. I was selling me out.
No, we have it here too. The minute Ben throws a pick, everyone's like, "Oh, get rid of him. He's a bum."
I'm leading the charge,
sure.
But anyway.
But one thing I noticed in that game, and I've noticed it with the Steelers in the past, like when we had Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant, when Ben Roethlisberger would be out, his replacement would come in. Antonio Brown suddenly, like, no balls are thrown his way, and Martavis Bryant has a crazy good game. And I think we saw that with Geno Smith, where Tyler Lockett just kind of disappeared, and he's just chucking balls to DK. Do you expect that to continue? Do you think DK Metcalf could be like the key to this offense?
I mean, if you guys, if the three of us, had a chance to play starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and you watch the receivers get off the bus, who would you throw it to all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. Why? Like, DK Metcalf is an absolute freak of nature. He's the size of a defensive end. Lofa Tatupu, my all-pro linebacking co-host on Bleav in Seahawks, has been to practice, of course, stood next to him. He says that DK is just a monster. Right? Mm-hmm. And we all love Tyler Lockett, of course, but I mean, DK, he could take over games. I mean, he can be that. I really think if he works on his hands a little bit, I mean, he really could be that Calvin Johnson type of guy. He's got the body for it. Russell doesn't throw it to him all the time. We don't know why. I don't know. So I think that's the recipe for Geno for sure. Just, hey, two-step drop, back foot, boom, find DK, right? A quick slant game. Not these long developing routes. Russell was trying to throw these like long out-breaking routes, took forever to develop. He's getting sacked. We just need snap the ball, throw the ball, snap the ball, throw the ball, and then run the hell out of it. We need to commit to running the ball, which is something you guys know all about, of course.
We're starting to learn about it again, I'd say. We're just trying to force it. But speaking of the run game, though, a good transition here is Chris Carson didn't play last week. Like a neck head injury. What's kind of going on there? Can we expect him to be back in the lineup, or will this be a game where the backfield's just completely depleted?
So he's supposed to practice tomorrow. We'll see. This neck thing, I mean, anytime you hear neck injuries nowadays, they can linger, right? Like, there's been a lot of guys dealing with this in the last few years and stuff. And Chris Carson is a guy that we gave him a contract in the offseason. Fans love him. I love him. I mean, he runs hard, 7th-round pick. How can you not root for a guy like that? He looks for contact. He but he can't stay on the field, and he can't stay healthy. Every year there's something with him. You can't fault him or whatever. It just is what it is. And obviously a lot of Seahawks fans need him back on the field. I'm one of them. I think that everything runs through our running game. I think it has ever since Marshawn Lynch, and Chris Carson needs to get back on the field, albeit obviously I hope he's healthy. But so if he's not ready to go, then it's Alex Collins again, who Seahawks fans love. He's shifty. He's a little quicker than Chris Carson, but he's not the kind of truck stick kind of power back that Chris Carson is. So that when we have the 1-2 punch of the two of them, love that. So we got to get Carson back out there for sure. And like I said, I don't know, as we're recording right now, the word is that he's supposed to practice tomorrow, and we'll just have to watch the injury reports.
So with the run game, the Seahawks kind of rebuilt their offensive line a little bit, especially the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
How is that going? How is the rebuild offensive line working out for you?
Well, Russell Wilson, guys, I know I'm going to jump off here and you guys are going to be like, man, that guy hates Russell Wilson. But I don't. Okay? It's just that I can't just be a homer all the time, okay? And let's all be honest. Russell Wilson is not able to escape the way that he was at the beginning of his career. It's weird because I don't know how you guys feel rooting for another team. For us as Seahawks fans, it feels like Russell Wilson just got here. You look up, he's been in the league for like 10 years. I mean, it feels like he's in year 4 or 5, but he's not. And he can't escape the way that he used to be able to. And so they keep rebuilding the offensive line, and he keeps running for his life. It seems to never work. And so, like I said with Geno, he's got this – he was just getting the ball out quick, and that's what we need to see. You know, Seahawks Twitter is – I'm telling you guys, they're putting out videos of like the all-22 where you can see guys running down the field wide open, and Russell – he rolls out the other way, and, you know, he gets like a 2-3 yard gain or a sack, and he's missing wide open guys. And so people are excited to see Geno get out there and see what he can do. And I think – so I guess to answer your question more directly, it's like I think a lot of Seahawks fans are wondering if it is the offensive line or if it is the quarterback holding onto the ball too long. Because when Russell Wilson just throws it, he's the best, and he's a great pocket passer. But when he pats the ball, he takes a lot of sacks. I think he's the #1 most sacked quarterback since he came into the league. So is it the offensive line or is it the player? And it's been 149 games since we had someone else take a snap. So I guess we're about to find out on Sunday, at least against the Steelers. But, I mean, you guys got a pass rush. So, it's going to be a good test. It's going to be a good barometer.
Now, originally I wasn't going to ask this, but now I feel like I have to with Russell Wilson. Of course,
Okay.
There's been those kind of rumors of trade demands. Would you kind of be leaning in favor of that now if things play a little bit better for Geno, or
well,
what are your thoughts on that?
What am I getting back for him would be my question.
It's probably a couple first round picks
right?
at least.
Hey, I mean, that's pretty good value. You got a guy in his 10th year, pretty expensive contract. You know, I mean, the Seahawks guys, like, I think there's a documentary coming out about him soon. But the Seahawks with Pete Carroll and John Schneider, all that, I mean, it's a little bit of a soap opera. And Lofa won't tell you this, but me as the Seahawks super fan, and what do I know? I'm just a fan. I can tell you that it feels like sometimes that there's like a couple different teams going on. Whose team is it? Is it the Legion of Boom's team back when we had them? Is it Russell's team? Is it Pete's? Do we have Pete Carroll's type of guys? Do we have John Schneider's type of guys? Because, I mean, Mike, you're saying, oh, they get a couple first-round picks. They haven't drafted well in the past few years. Look at the Seahawks drafts. That's why we are where we are. They've missed on LJ Collier. They've missed on DBs they've taken who haven't panned out. They who has worked out? DK maybe, and obviously, and then Damian Lewis, an interior, guard, has played really nice. Other than that, it's a lot of misses in the draft. So even if we're getting back draft picks, I don't know if I trust that. I mean, I don't know, man. If you're sending me Aaron Rodgers, like, you want to trade him straight up, maybe
10-year age gap, but yeah, no, I get it.
Age gap, but I want to win right now. And for whatever reason, I mean, you guys tell me, our roster, you watch the league. Like, in the last 6 years, doesn't it seem like the Sox had enough talent to make it past a one-handed Jared Goff and the LA Rams last year?
I'm gonna tell you, I think, it's my opinion, the Seahawks are in the same spot the Steelers were several years back, where it's like we're looking at this roster saying, like, shouldn't it be better?
Right.
Are we wasting like Ben Roethlisberger's prime years here? What are we doing? Yeah. And then we'd have a team, we'd be like, okay, this team's talented, and then we're hit the playoffs and one key injury and we're out. We're done. Yeah. I think it's a similar arc we're seeing with the Seahawks.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I was just talking to my dad tonight. We were talking about the Seahawks and Russell and all that. And I just said, like, look, he won the Super Bowl in his second year. He went back to the Super Bowl in his third year. And now he's in his 10th year. And, the NFL's a what have you done for me lately type league. And like I've been saying the whole time, I love Russell Wilson. I love everything he's done for us. I want him to be the quarterback for life. But if we're not getting past the first round of the playoffs, you got to take a look at a bunch of stuff. Is it personnel? Is it coaching? Is it scheme? What is it? And right now with the Seahawks, I mean, they're trying everything. They're cutting DBs, bringing DBs in. John Schneider, Pete Carroll, they have like 200 moves a season usually, and they're using all of them right now. All hands on deck,
Geoffrey, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. Okay. One of the things I like looking at is, like, obviously we've talked about already. The Seahawks and Steelers had that Super Bowl moment. Since then,
robbery.
Move past that game. Both teams have been to the Super Bowl twice. Both won one. Had great coaches, well-respected coaches. We've had great defense. We've got all this stuff. I'm curious, what is the legacy, would you say, of the Seahawks since that Super Bowl? What is the overarching story for you of the teams since then?
Since the Steelers, since Super Bowl 40?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think what Mike Holmgren was able to build in Seattle, and can I just soapbox for 1 second? The idea that Mike Holmgren, by the way, is not in the NFL Hall of Fame is an absolute crime. It's ridiculous. He should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. They got put Dick Vermeulen ahead of Mike Holmgren. Give me a break. He took 2 different teams to the Super Bowl. The guy is a legend, and what he was able to do when he came to Seattle and build that team and take that team to the Super Bowl with my co-host Lofa Tatupu and Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander and that team that they had back then. The 12th man, the fans, all the support was always there in the city. They retired that number way back in the day in the 70s. All that we had Steve Largent. There's always been diehard Seahawks fans, but Mike Holmgren and that team that went to the Super Bowl against your guys, it solidified just. It brought a lot of bandwagon fans. Everybody around the city is now rooting for Seattle, and it created what we morphed into with Russell Wilson. Sorry, my son's here. What's up, buddy? What?
It's all good.
I'm talking about Steelers. Daddy. What? Dinner time. All right, I'll be there right in a second. Hold on. All right, so I'm trying to buddy, I'm talking football. That team established what the Russell Wilson team then grew into. We only had 1 year of who was it? It was the guy, from the Falcons. Remember? He came for 1 year and then he went to the UW too. I should know his,
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right? And anyway,
I've drawn a blank on his name.
We've only had one other coach, and then Pete Carroll comes in. We go right to that Super Bowl. That team, Lofa's team, that 05 team with the new Seahawk uniforms, the fresh start, a new stadium out of the Kingdom. They've been must-see TV ever since, honestly. I think so. Every time the Seahawks play in prime time, it's always an entertaining game. You have the Fail Mary years ago with Golden Tate, right? You got all the games against San Francisco in prime time with Kaepernick and Richard Sherman and all of that. So I think – sorry, I'm rambling a bit. My kid distracted me. But to answer your question, I think it started at that Super Bowl, and ever since then the Seahawks have just been must-see TV, really entertaining team to watch. And they're loud, and people hate them. And that's why they're fun to root for, because when they win, you get to be sort of the heel a little bit. But when they're losing, you have to take it on the chin. It's not very much fun.
Now, the coach we're thinking of, Jim Mora.
Jim Mora, yes.
Was the in between.
Sorry. Playoffs.
To transition to this weekend's game, and Wes is going to help us out with this one. He puts $5 in the tip jar and asks you, Brett, why is Seattle using Adams so much in coverage? / is it time for Pete Carroll to move on? Thank you so much for your time.
So is that 2 questions? So about Adams and then Pete Carroll. So why are they using Jamal Adams in coverage? I have no idea. I don't know. Seahawks fans are disappointed in Jamal Adams this year, guys. We give him the biggest contract of any safety in the league, right? Make him the highest paid safety. He comes out preseason and says he wants 12 sacks and 5 interceptions. You guys know how many sacks he has so far this year?
None.
0. You know how many interceptions he has?
Also none.
0. He's got a long way to go. But you know what we did do? We paid him a bunch of money. Then we shipped KJ Wright out of town, who is Bobby Wagner's Robin to Bobby Wagner's Batman, and the defense is 32nd in the league last time I checked. And then we let Shaq Griffin go to Jacksonville. He's kind of been like a lockdown corner for them. And what's our biggest weakness? Cornerback. So Jamal Adams, I love the guy. He looks great in a Jordan sweatband, right? He's got 1,000 sweatbands on his arms. He looks good in the uniform, but it's not really panning out this season so far. And I don't know if he feels pressure of living up the contract or what, but he's got to pick it up. And if they're not going to just let him rush the quarterback all the time, then quit dropping him back there in coverage and put someone else back there. Lofa and I have discussed on our show, Bleav in Seahawks, shameless plug, by the way, that Jamal should switch positions. Just make him a linebacker. Just make him that Bruce Irvin speed rushing specialist if that's what he wants to do, because guys, a lot of Seahawks fans would say it, he's a bit of a liability in coverage. And there's a kid named Ryan Neal who plays great for us. Put him back there. roll Jamal around. Let's just switch this thing up. They need to any ideas on the table right now, because he's not great in coverage. And then the second question about Pete Carroll, I mean, I don't know, like he's got his always compete thing. He's kind of a player's coach, he lets them be themselves and all of that kind of stuff. But has it worn thin in Seattle? Maybe. Is it time for him to move on? I mean, look, I think Pete Carroll, he brought us our only Super Bowl, took us right back to a second one. I think he'll probably decide when that is. But as of right now, like, who would the coach in waiting be on our staff? Ken Norton Jr.? I mean, we're the last ranked defense. Our new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, we can't put together an offense in the second half. So I don't know who you'd get instead, and I don't want him fired mid-season or anything like that. No way. Like, let's just keep the continuity, try to get through this thing.
Now, I know we just crossed over the 20-minute mark. If you don't mind, 2 more quick questions for
Yeah,
you.
go for it. Sorry, I ramble anyway. It's my fault.
It's all good. Now, Najee Harris kind of had a bit of a coming out party last weekend, going over 120 yards and a score. Against the Seahawks front, which has struggled a lot against the run, could you anticipate him having another big day, or will Seattle be able to shut him down?
Scares the hell out of me, honestly. I don't know why the Seahawks opened as early favorites, right? And that was like a surprise to me, honestly, because we cannot stop anybody in the run game. And the screen game is even worse, and that's just like a handoff sometimes, And I mean, it's not good. Run defense is usually our strength. And our defensive line, I mean, it's just, it's not getting the job done. And as far as the linebackers go, I just talked about KJ Wright. I think the whole missing link to our defense is KJ Wright. When number 50 left and when they didn't decide to pay him, and maybe they couldn't because of Jamal's contract and whatever happened there, that was a big loss. And a lot of Seahawks fans were worried about it coming into the season, and it has really shown up. I mean, he could read a screen with his eyes closed, and the screen game is just killing us. How are you guys at the screen game?
That's a great question, because Ben loves throwing the check down. He loves the receiver screens. That's a huge part of the offense right now. I know.
I'm not looking forward to it, man. I think, hopefully our offense can do something with Geno. We just don't know what we're going to get there, and then our defense has to try to do something. I mean, they just, we had the Rams, I think, at halftime. What was the score at halftime of the Rams game? It was like 7-3 or something like that. Yeah. Like, it was going well, and then it just all falls apart in the second half. We have not put together a complete game yet.
Gotcha. Now, last thing for you before we let you out of here, we always end all our segments asking our guests a final score prediction for the game. So to completely put you on the spot, who is winning this game and what's the final score?
All right. Well, I'm definitely not picking the Steelers, especially because of all the things that I mentioned that happened in Detroit. So forget it. So that being said, I would say, oh man, this is a hard one. Geno Smith. Geno,
scoring, probably.
That's what I think. I think that we're going to get like a weird, and the Seahawks have weird scores too. And so on our show, Lofa, he's like the football expert. So he'll give you the real prediction. I'm going to give you the insane fan prediction. I think that the Seahawks win this one, guys. Ready for this? The Seahawks win this one. I was going to say 13, but let's say 15 because it's weird.
Okay.
15
like a
to
safety.
8.
Yeah, 2 field goals and a safety for the Steelers too. Just like a gross one. I think it's touchdown. You guys go for 2. Tomlin likes going for 2. I love it. Now, before we let you out here, is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, just our show, Bleav in Seahawks. You guys can find it anywhere you find podcasts. It's spelled our way, Bleav, because that's the network we're on. So BLEAV in Seahawks. And we're also on any social media. And something fun, I don't know how many of your fans would want this, but I'll just say, if there's any just sort of general NFL fans listening, we do something every week on our show on game day, where if you go give the score prediction on our Instagram post you'll see it. It asks you to do it. It's all self-explanatory. If you nail the prediction, we will buy you a Seahawk jersey. So if you're just a collector, I know you got Steelers fans, right? But maybe you're just a collector of jerseys. You want to go enter the contest. It doesn't matter who wins. We'll send it to whoever wins. So that's something fun for everybody. So check out our social media. And you guys, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, our pleasure. Thank you for your time, and producer Katie down there. Geoffrey and I will continue on. So you guys are free to go, and we'll break down the Steelers side of things. So
All right,
Brett,
guys,
thank you
have
so
a
much.
good one. Hopefully, I'm celebrating a Seahawk win. We'll see.
Hopefully not. No, it's a Steelers show. You're supposed to be sad on Sunday.
I'm gonna be talking trash on social media too. All right.
Hey, I'm following you back after this.
Okay, let's get some replies going. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Great stuff, ladies and gentlemen. That is Brett Davern from Bleav in Seahawks. That was a lot of fun. Geoffrey and I will get to our score predictions at the end of the show here. But to continue on kind of talking about the Seahawks side of things before the second half, we kind of will hammer out the Steelers business. But Geoffrey, what are your kind of overall thoughts? Obviously, an NFC team, we don't see them a whole lot. Steelers typically struggle with them. But what are your kind of thoughts here with these Seattle Seahawks coming to town?
Okay, first off, my thoughts for the Seahawks offense, especially with Geno Smith. His two leading targets were Will Disley and DK Metcalf, two tall guys. We've seen that before. Backup quarterbacks, that's what they do. Geno Smith has an arm. He can throw a deep ball. The Steelers' outside corners, their biggest weakness is speed, right? That's not the biggest strength of this team. DK Metcalf, if the Seahawks come out of this with a win, and I sincerely doubt they do, I think the Steelers, this is set up for us to win. But if they don't, it's going to be DK Metcalf. You're going to have DK Metcalf deep and the Steelers not having an answer for it. They like to move DK Metcalf around a bit. I would love to see the Steelers put Terrell Edmonds on him a few times. He has done well on that before in man. But that's my big concern is you've got to be ready for DK Metcalf on the opposite side of the ball when the Steelers are on offense. Man, you heard what he said. They don't do well against the run game. They don't do well against screens. Pete Carroll's defense is a very aggressive defense, a very attacking defense, and it's not the most creative defense. It's a lot of just, go get them. We're going to put you out. Go do your stuff. Matt Canada, if the Steelers get the run game going, Matt Canada is going to have some fun, and you're going to see some interesting plays. Like last week when the craziest play I've seen for a while is Zach Gentry's screen. That was incredible. 13-yard gain on that one. I really think the Steelers offense, if the offensive line is holding up, which they've been doing fantastic, but as long as that continues, man, I don't see Seattle stopping this offense.
Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Geno Smith, haha, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Geno Smith has knocked off the Steelers before with a pretty lame New York Jets team. I'm fairly certain that's who's quarterbacking that team. Or is that Mike Vick?
Beat him.
We beat him.
You're thinking Vick. Yeah, you're thinking Vick. We beat the snot out of Geno Smith. He did actually play one snap. I think it was for the Chargers when they beat us. But it was exactly one snap, like in the middle of the game. And it was going to be like, oh, is it a trick play? And then he didn't do anything.
Right. Now, there was one other name, so to completely transition off a moot point now, completely, Evan, forget about that. Terrell Edmonds is someone you brought up. He's had a great year so far. Whether or not you've already set your opinion on him and you just hate him, legitimately in man coverage, he has the best passer rating amongst all the DBs. Minka Fitzpatrick also has the worst right now, but anyway, Terrell Edmonds has been really good, especially in man. Could this be his game? Could this be Terrell Edmonds? This is the Terrell Edmonds game. He just shut down DK one-on-one. He's our guy now. Like, okay, we got to lock him up.
When they move him around, if they move him into the slot where he is really dangerous, when they move him around, yes. When he's outside, it's Joe Hayden. It's going to be Joe Hayden, and we're going to be relying once again on that old man savvy. So
he's been really good too.
Yeah, he knows how to get away with everything. He can hold you 14 different ways, and the ref won't see a single one. So I think it's Joe Hayden on the outside. But yeah, Terrell Edmonds is inside. If DK Metcalf moves inside, moves around a bit, Terrell Edmonds picking him up is the answer. This is not the game where we want Joe Schobert. This is not the game where we want T.J. Watt or Melvin Ingram or Alex Highsmith on DK Metcalf in the slot. Is Devin Bush even? Oh yeah,
he was full go today. Yeah, he's full go.
Man,
He'll be in.
We did. Dave and I did a whole film room on the inside linebackers. I spent a bunch of time on Robert Spillane in case he had to play.
Hey, they do platoon it a bit though. I don't know if third down seems like Spillane territory.
Yeah.
He trusts out there.
You're paying attention during the game.
Look at me. Nice job. Look at me, like diagnosing football as a football coach and football media member and a blogger and a podcast. Who would know? Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not me.
Look at us too.
Not me.
Oh no, but okay, sorry. But yeah, that is not what you want with DK Metcalf, because you do not want Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in late, right? He's too fast. He's too tall. You need someone just on him when that happens, especially with Geno Smith, who doesn't have that timing with Tyler Lockett. Small, fast, great route runners like a Tyler Lockett, like an Antonio Brown, they tend to not do as well when the backups come in. They just don't. So this game, absolutely, DK Metcalf is our focus. I would totally say when he moves inside, when they try to get those mismatches, counter that mismatch with Terrell Edmunds.
Okay, no, absolutely something to look out for. But we are at that across that halfway point of our show, so we're going to transition to the second half and break down more of a Steelers perspective for the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook right now, just hang tight. We're not going anywhere. If you're listening on your podcast platform, wherever that may be, just click over to part 2 right now. Alrighty, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is time for the second half of Know Your Enemy. Once again, my name is Michael Beck. He is Geoffrey Benedict. We are hanging out here tonight, breaking down Steelers versus Seahawks. Now, first and foremost, the Steelers got it done against the Denver Broncos last week, and I feel like we need to spend a minute on that. Impressive performance. Are we completely turning around the ship? Because I was someone who thought, okay, we're starting to try to bail out a 5-alarm leak with nothing but a sand pail, but it seems like they might have found the patch. Are we okay? Are we in the clear? Are the Steelers good? Tell me about this win.
The offensive line is steadily improving, and that's the big story. Najee Harris has been brilliant. The offensive line is improving. The receivers are who they have been. And in my opinion, Ben, like, everyone can look at the stats and see he threw for 10 yards per attempt for the first time since Philadelphia last season. And Philadelphia last season, he got it off of catch and runs from Chase Claypool, right? That was that crazy game by him, not off, throwing the ball downfield. This was much more Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball downfield and connecting on passes, getting that 10 yards per attempt. Great game by Ben. This is probably going to be an unpopular opinion here because the opinion before that game was Ben is absolutely trash, and if he threw the ball at the ground, it would probably miss, right? That's where Ben Roethlisberger was. Like, if he threw the ball at the ground, it would get all the way to his knee and then hit, and then stop somehow. Like, he can't throw past his own arm. He wasn't that bad, right? He wasn't that bad.
25 passes.
In the game we just saw, he wasn't that good. What I saw on film, and in my opinion, this is just my opinion. You can hate me for it if you want, or you can say I'm wrong. I can handle it. I think he's the same quarterback. He made the same throws. He was doing the same things. Everything around him worked better. That's the main thing that was going on. The run game was rolling. The defense was pulling up to the run game. Deontay Johnson being back was a big boost to him because that's his dude, right? It was just across the board, everything else worked better. And you had the Matt Canada little plays. See, everyone looks for an offense coordinator to design up some amazing play that gains like 70 yards for a touchdown. Matt Canada's brilliant plays are like, you get a safe 7 yards, right? That you were just on some weird play and you got 7 yards on first down and second down and 3. Those plays were working, putting the team in good position. And Ben Roethlisberger was doing the same thing he was, but in more favorable situations, and it worked better. So for me, this game, as the rest of the season, broken record time from myself, is all on the offensive line. And really, I mean, we've heard that from them too. They talked about it. Adrian Klemm told them, this team is going to go as far as you carry them. We saw that last week. That offensive line, Chuks Okorafor played the best game he's played since he shut down Myles Garrett. A little trend of him: face someone great, play great; face someone trashy, play trashy.
Even worse.
Yeah, like just be absolutely terrible. You know, like my son, he's 9 years old, could probably put 5 sacks on the Steelers if he was going against Chukwuma Okorafor. Like that's just kind of how it goes.
Just save him for the elite rushers.
You put Mean Joe Green out there, Chukwuma Okorafor would find a way. He'd find a way. It's Mean Joe. There's something. I'll find a way. I don't know. He'd shut him down. So for me, offensive line. This team goes as far as the offensive line carries.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. I get it. But one of the big things I want to say also in this past week, before we really kind of focus on Sunday's matchup, Ben Roethlisberger being limited to 25 attempts, huge. I think it's his lowest total all year. A lot of this is going to have to do with the Steelers taking leads early and not finding themselves in a 2-score hole, because that's when, honestly, I think games will fall apart for the Steelers, like it happened against Green Bay. They got the lead, but then they took their foot off the gas pedal immediately, it felt like. Green Bay stormed back, and all of a sudden Ben has to throw over and over and over. And the run game was starting to kind of pick up in that Green Bay game. Mike Tomlin talked about it in the post-game press conference, and he was right. The only difference was the Steelers had to run the ball far less because they're in such a hole. So with this, do you think Najee Harris needs to be successful in order for Ben Roethlisberger to be successful? If Najee's having an off day, will Ben also be off? To me, before I let you answer the same question, I feel like the duo has to be on together. With Ben at this point in his career, Najee could be great and Ben could stink, but if Najee stinks, I think Ben is also going to stink.
I'm trying to understand what a Najee Harris off day would look like. Like
his average was like 2 yards, like not enough to run him 3 times.
So basically, if the offensive line stinks, is what you're saying.
Honestly, yeah, that's basically what it comes down to.
Because it's Najee Harris, man. He's the best player. He's the best player on offense.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
I would say right now there are 2 players better than him on this team, and it's Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt, who are, I should say, playing better than him right now, and that's it.
Oh yeah,
that's it. If Najee, they've got to get him going, but I'm going to go farther than that. My key to this game is who's the number 2 runner, because we're going to need them.
Anthony McFarland.
Well, we saw Benny Snell come in late. 5 carries, 20 yards.
Yeah.
He had like 1 carry for 1 yard, and the rest were like 4. Like 4 and then 1 that was 9. Like Benny Snell. Where'd that come from? But if the offensive line is rolling, Benny Snell could take a series or 2. Kalen Ballage, get him in there. He had a couple of good runs, but the problem is you still have that every once in a while. You have one offensive lineman get driven into the backfield, and I've said this before. If it's just one, Najee Harris is going to find a way. He's still going to get you 4 yards. He could hand the ball off, and there's a defender right in his face, like right there. Najee Harris is going to find a way to gain 4 yards if that's the only guy breaking free. And then we've had some of those, and Kalen Ballage ran into a couple of them, and he's not Najee Harris.
Yeah, no, absolutely, totally fair assessment there. Getting into this Sunday's matchup, of course, they got Geno Smith, of course, as the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, which, in my opinion, huge win. Russell Wilson can win games, despite what Brett said at the top of the show. If you're a Seahawks fan, you want that guy in your lineup. Geno Smith, say what you want about him. He's a serviceable backup, and there's nothing wrong with that. If the Steelers can pressure him, because we saw what Geno did in the last half of that game last week. He played pretty darn good, especially his connection with DK, which obviously, like Brett said, if you're the quarterback of the team, that's probably who you're going to throw the ball to. He's the freak athlete. He's probably going to make you look good. Is pressure the key here? Do they have to get that much heat on Geno Smith? Could they leave more guys in coverage, especially because this offense line isn't great? What would you do from your pass rushing perspective? Are you blitzing a lot? Are you sending 4? What's the idea?
Okay, I just want to say right now that if we had Mike Hilton and Bud Dupree, I'd say this game's over, right? It's done, because he's not going to stand in the pocket. He's going to get hit, and if he goes out of the pocket, he's going to get run down and hit. This is a different defense, and people are scrambling on us since it's both of them. Mike Hilton, Bud Dupree are gone. People are able to scramble around and run around on this Steelers defense. We don't have that. We don't have Bud Dupree, who basically, most of his sacks were on the quarterbacks desperately trying to get away from TJ Watt, and Bud Dupree runs them down. That's how he got most of his sacks. He was phenomenal at that. We're not that team anymore. So for me, pocket contain becomes important, but we're not really that team now. Like we're not that team that focuses on that as much. But we're gonna have to find a way. We're gonna have to find a way to disrupt his pocket and yet keep him in it. That's the Steelers' secret. That's been our secret to leading the league in sacks is we got people in your pocket, but you're also not allowed to leave your pocket. So for me, oh man, it's hard. It's hard because it used to be, keep Geno Smith in the pocket, make him read your defense, make him go through his progressions, make him be a quarterback, and he's going to struggle. I don't think we saw enough of him in that game to say, he's fully changed, but I saw him go through a few progressions there and make some good throws from the pocket. So for me, I want to see pressure up the middle. That's it. Give me pressure up the middle. If we've got any kind of pressure up the middle, I think we're good.
Now, speaking of pressure up the middle, and it's really not going to affect this game, but I kind of have an idea in the back of my mind, and I'll be curious your thoughts. Stephon Tuitt, of course, battling a knee injury, going through obviously one of the more traumatic events you could go in life, having a sudden death from a sibling. Obviously a very tough time in his life that he's battling back from. And really, the Steelers are going to give him all the time in the world to get ready. But he has been at the facility. He has been working out. Steelers play the Seahawks this week. They go on the bye, and then they go to Cleveland. Will Stephon Tuitt be coming off that injured reserve designated to return after this bye week?
Oh, man, can you imagine?
It's kind of the perfect timing.
Huge. It would be. It would be. Also, I'm sorry, if you look at Cleveland, they're beating a lot of teams by less than they should. And they're losing to teams that you're like, okay, that would be a good win. Nope, you lost it. And then they're like, they beat Houston by a small amount. Like they're not putting anyone away. I would love to see Stephon Tuitt back. I would love to see the Steelers go into Cleveland and beat them. That's what I want to see.
You need all your top dogs to stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I know this is another topic for another podcast, but
Nick Chubb. Like I've said before, the best quarterback in the AFC North is whoever has Nick Chubb running for him, because that's how good Nick Chubb is. Fortunately, the Steelers have Najee Harris now, and he can give that kind of an impact to Ben Roethlisberger like he did last week.
Imagine with the Browns O-line though.
Yeah,
you'd have 100 yards every week.
Oh, yeah, Najee Harris would be all over the place. Oh, it'd be phenomenal.
So speaking of the IR, though, Anthony McFarland could be a guy that could come back. Zach Banner. I think Zach Banner has to come back this week since he started practicing. Otherwise, I think he's on the IR for the rest of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Do you anticipate seeing both those guys, or could Zach Banner be lost for the season?
Man, that's tough. I hope he's back. I have no clue. I don't pretend to know anything about these injuries and how people are rehabbing. But I hope he's back.
What would it mean to get him back in the lineup then?
Okay. It'd mean a lot. It would mean a lot. It would mean, to me, if Chukwuma Okorafor isn't playing well, you've got someone Tomlin will put in. What I hope it wouldn't mean is something where we put Banner in at right tackle and move Chukwuma Okorafor over to left tackle and Dan Moore goes on the bench, when he has become one of our better offensive linemen. Like, he is growing so much. He's a fantastic run blocker. I would love to see Zach Banner at right tackle with Najee Harris running the ball and the offensive line blocking like it did last week, where Dan Moore has become a strength of this run blocking unit. And Kevin Dotson's a beast. Trey Turner is really solid. And then you'd have Zach Banner, who was a phenomenal run blocker for the little bit he's played for us. And in the preseason was that guy. He's consistently been that guy. Oh, man, I would love to see that happen and just dominant run blocking. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would really change a whole lot of things for this front. Now, getting into the Steelers receiving unit, Juju Smith-Schuster obviously lost for the year now. How do you anticipate the slack being picked up? I wrote an article on this with my opinion over BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, so you can check that out after you're done listening to this, of course. But where do you see the slack being picked up amongst these wide receivers? And firstly, I think Deontay Johnson's already that guy that Ben loves targeting. I don't think his role's changing at all. I feel like it's going to be the other guys, but I'm curious your thoughts on this extra distribution going out to the other receivers of the team.
Okay, this I want to say I love Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster is a fantastic receiver. I want to start with that. But I think I was consistent on in the offseason. I thought he fit better at other teams better than he fits the Steelers now. I don't think he fit our offense as well anymore. I think he would have absolutely tore it up in Baltimore, and dang, Lamar could use him. He'd be throwing everything to Juju Smith-Schuster because he would actually catch it. But when Juju Smith-Schuster's out consistently, James Washington, when Juju Smith-Schuster is injured and not playing well, or he's injured and he's trying to play but he's splitting time, James Washington with Ben Roethlisberger averages like 65 to 70 yards a game. More than Juju Smith-Schuster has been averaging. Juju Smith-Schuster, since Ben came back, averages 40 yards a game, right? James Washington actually ups the output from that spot when he replaces Juju Smith-Schuster. And I think that can continue this time for one key reason, and that is Chase Claypool moving to the slot. Chase Claypool in the slot gives you that threat down the seam. He gives you that corner route. He gives you the slants. The stuff he can do from that position where you can't he's not always running those routes down the sideline. James Washington, that's his role. Put him in the Z, outside the slot, let him run down the field, let him be that guy that's just like, okay, we have to be physically on him, or he's going to, like, you have to be on James Washington. He's not much of a threat if you're on him, but if you're not on him, he's going to catch it. He's very reliable. Chase Claypool in the slot is going to open up a lot, in my opinion, because he brings a real threat to the safeties that you can't put single cover. You can't have single high safety with Chase Claypool in the slot. I don't know. Like, that's just a nightmare there because he's going to undercut your safety. You're just going to run routes under the safety every single time and pull that safety up and then beat him. Like, you're just going to play that game all game. And when they put two safeties back, the Steelers destroy teams. Ben Roethlisberger is, at this point in his career, is so much better facing cover two deep safeties than he is facing one. Man, I just, that's exciting to me. And it's not because I think Juju in any way is a lesser player. It's because I don't think he fits this offense anymore. As good as he is and as much as I love that guy, like, he doesn't fit as well.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable as well. But to kind of continue on here, I want to chat about a couple of the rookies really fast. Now, we mentioned Najee Harris, of course, last week going for 122 yards on the ground, picked up another 20 through the air. But I want to focus on those ground yards specifically here. Denver has a really good defense. Let's not kid ourselves. He did that against one of the, I would say, a top 8, top 7 defense in football. Seattle's defense, like was mentioned earlier, number 32 in the league. They are bad. Simply put it, they're bad. Do you expect Najee Harris to have more than 122 yards against the Seattle Seahawks on the ground?
No.
I'm
going to go with no, because I think he's going to get going.
So Steelers.
Yeah, he's going to get going, and they'll be like, oh, he's running well. Let's throw wide receiver screens. Like, the minute, and it makes sense with Matt Canada, the minute you start saying, okay, we've got to load the box to stop the running back, Matt Canada's like, really? You're going to load the box? Tight end over here, screen. Wide receiver screen over here. Oh, you spread back out? Now Najee's running it. We're going to see RPOs galore. We are going to see so many RPOs in this game. And hopefully we see some interesting ones. And, I mean, it's crazy how much we got away with it. But we're running that just simple, like, it's a slant outside or Najee Harris going left. Like, it's just that over and over again. Boom. And they're giving us the slant all game because they're that worried about Najee Harris. So I hope we see some creative RPOs in this game, get a little more, something going on. But I think we're going to see a ton of RPOs, and I think we're going to see loaded boxes. And the read for Ben is going to be throw the ball because the box is loaded. Right? You're gonna throw little screens and little things like that because the box is going to be loaded to stop Najee.
Now, the second rookie I want to touch on here, Pat Freiermuth. You can see the skill Clearly, his ability to get open, catch the ball, but for whatever reason, Ben Roethlisberger doesn't like throwing tight ends. I don't get it. It makes you want to pull your hair out. Like the amount of times the kid is running open. Is this ever going to change? Could he have an offensive outburst here? What the heck is going on? Why isn't he getting the ball more?
Okay, so the last 2 games, our offense has been better, right? You know who our leading tight end in receiving yards is in the last 2 games?
Zach Gentry?
It is one Zach Gentry with 23 yards in 2 games. He has 2 catches for 23 yards, and he leads all tight ends on the Steelers. That is...
They should be ashamed about that. They really should.
Oh, it hurts your brain. Like, where do tight ends... Like, if you have Najee Harris, if you have someone that they are, pounding in the box, they're really worried about the run. And the teams, I cannot tell you how much they are focusing on Najee Harris. It's ridiculous how much defenses are focusing on stopping Najee Harris because they know he's our number 1 receiver. We throw the most targets to Najee. He's our number 1 runner. He is he's 70% of our offense. He is it, right? Stop Najee, beat the Steelers. In that situation, what do you want? You want a tight end with some speed that can just crush people on play action passes. Ben's actually running play action.
Yeah.
You know what's not happening?
Freiermuth
getting the ball.
He's running open too.
Yeah,
he's always open.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, really, in all honesty, the reason Heath Miller isn't a Hall of Fame candidate is because his very good friend Ben Roethlisberger rarely threw to him. He threw to everyone else. Heath was like that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I'm running around. Oh, okay. Oh, Heath. Wow. He's been wide open for 13 seconds while I looked everywhere else. That's who Ben Roethlisberger is. It's frustrating. But yeah, the tight end room is actually really good. Zach Gentry is a really good blocking tight end. Mad props to how Matt Canada uses him. I was excited to see. I talked about the wingback position ad nauseum. Guess what? It's Zach Gentry. That's who won it. That's who plays that. Actually, I shouldn't say it. He's the inline blocker. Pat Freiermuth does a lot of it. Zach Gentry's done some of the wingback plays. It's fantastic. I love what they're doing. That tight end room is ridiculous, and they should be used more. It's just bad.
I genuinely believe that Pat Freiermuth has talent to be like a top 10 tight end, easy at minimum in the NFL. Even this year, even as a rookie, he has that talent. But if the Steelers aren't going to use him, why did they not draft Creed Humphrey? Honestly, use the freaking guy. He is an unbelievable talent. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just trying to think in the AFC. Second, maybe third best tight end, talent-wise, straight up. In my opinion, I think he should
Kelsey,
be up
who hasn't even been great this year.
Yeah,
I like CJ Azuma, what he's doing with the Bengals. Yeah. He's putting up numbers. Well, why is this undrafted guy getting
throws to him? He's not on Pat Freiermuth's level as talent-wise. He's not.
You know what? Honestly, I feel like when Ben retires, Pat Freiermuth's numbers are gonna go stupid. Honestly, if it's next year, he could be a guy the Steelers have a 1,200-yard receiver, or in the tight end. Yeah, okay, Mark Andrews.
Look at what Lamar does with him. If they get a mobile quarterback after Beck, I mean, we're already look at us. We sound like the Seattle guys. We already have Ben gone and we're replacing him.
It's a full circle.
But yeah, you get a mobile quarterback in there, man. I love the setup they have. Offensive line coming together. Najee Harris as the running back. You've got the tight ends. You've got Claypool outside. You've got Deontay Johnson. This team is set up to hold a rookie quarterback's hand.
It's not Matt Canada. I have to load this comment up saying blame your favorite offensive coordinator. It's not Matt Canada. It's not he's if you seriously watch it from behind angles, when he's running seam routes, it seems like he's open down the hashes every single time he's on the field. Honestly.
And he's how freaking tall, and he has how many drops in the end zone. He's open. You know, and if he's not open, throw it to him anyways. He caught that touchdown, that crazy touchdown, in the preseason?
Yeah. Two of them.
The only time Ben Roethlisberger threw to him, he's like, it's the preseason, doesn't matter. Throw it. Oh, touchdown to Freiermuth. What's that? Oh, touchdown to Freiermuth. Now he's like, oh, guys, these games count. We don't want to throw touchdowns to tight ends in real games.
No, you're a blocker who just happens to be eligible to catch a pass.
If you throw a touchdown to the tight end, Antonio Brown will leave whatever game he is, fly to Pittsburgh, and throw a tantrum on the sideline. I don't know what will happen, but something bad will clearly happen.
Oh. Now, to continue on with this show, because we should also talk a lot about Sunday's matchup. The Steelers here against the Seahawks. What do you like most matchup-wise in the Steelers' favor?
Matt Canada versus their defense. I know people are teasing us because of like the Matt Canada love fest, and that's me. I am 100% a Matt Canada fanboy. That was kind of awkward. Anyways, I love Matt Canada's offense. I love what I'm seeing of it. I love the little wrinkles he's throwing in and the plays he's doing. And man, if you struggle against the run, the one thing I've said about Matt Canada, you watch his college offense. If the interior run game is going, his offense is nearly unstoppable. And everyone talks about, oh, he'll have a big game and he'll destroy some team, right? And then the next week his offense will completely disappear. It's because his offense is based on that run game. If you can't run the ball, the offense stinks. And we've seen that this year. We saw that last year. The run game didn't work, and Matt Canada's offense fell apart. We saw this past week what it looks like when that run game starts getting going, even when the quarterback isn't lighting it up, right? He had a good game. Man, there were plays left on the field again this week. This like there were last week. Anyways, not going on to Ben. If the run game is going and Seattle is struggling to stop it, and Seattle is weak against screens, Matt Canada is going to tear the Seahawks apart.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's definitely a big one that I'm excited for. Pass rush wise, I feel like TJ Watt, obviously still lingering some injuries from that pulled groin from a couple weeks ago. He still seems like he's kind of getting back into it, like slowly but surely. He dominated the Bills. He dominated the Raiders for a half of football. Like you could tell he was burning everyone. If this isn't the week, I feel like after the bye week, TJ Watt kind of reclaims that. But I got a feeling this could be a big TJ Watt week. I think Geno Smith is going to have nightmares. He's going to have TJ Watt's helmet paint covering his helmet. That I feel like it's going to be a big TJ game. What are your thoughts on this? I say this especially because the Seahawks O-line has struggled, and Dwayne Brown plays on that left side. He's not the guy that's going to be protecting against TJ Watt.
Yeah, they just got their right tackle back last week, I believe. But their starter, he started the first two games. He missed some. He's the only one that I was trying to look up who their right tackle was, and they've had three people play that position. But I think the starter guy, I can't remember his name now though. But he wasn't that good last week. So yeah, TJ Watt could have a huge game. The reason I say one of my keys there is pressure up the middle on Geno Smith is if we can't get pressure up the middle, they're going to focus on TJ. They're going to put people on TJ. They're going to double TJ frequently. They're going to have tight ends chipping him. And then the tackle's sitting there waiting for him. You have to give him some help. You have to give him some help up the middle. And the Steelers got kind of desperate last week. I know Dave Schofield has mentioned a couple times on our Slack. He's like, hey, you guys want to do a film room on this? Where the Steelers in dime against obvious passing sets would go one defensive tackle, Cam Hayward in the middle, with three edge rushers, with Melvin Ingram rushing inside because he can do it. And they are getting no push from their other defensive tackles. I'd like to see, personally, Henry Mondeau play because he was putting, garbage in the pocket. Like, when I say garbage in the pocket, I mean, he's falling down. He's being blocked. There was a play, they're pushing him to the ground. He's got one arm in and slapping at, the quarterback's leg, Teddy Bridgewater's leg, just trying to be in his space, disrupt his flow. And it worked. The Steelers were better. A lot of Bridgewater's downfield throws late in the game were when Mondeau wasn't on the field. And Mondeau would come back on the field and he's getting a little bit of pressure. Got that beautiful sack off that spin move. He had the one Teddy Bridgewater kind of threw the ball directly into the ground in front of Cam Hayward. That was on a stunt. Henry Mondeau ran the stunt for him, took two offensive linemen, drove them into each other. fantastic stuff. Like the stuff he's our Steelers right now. He's the second best pass rusher from the defensive line. It's Cameron Hayward and him, and then him. Not as good against the run, but man, if the Steelers get a lead, put him in. Let's see him go.
Now we are at the top of our hour here, and as we like to do at the end of every show, we break down what we think the final score of the Sunday's game will be. So, Geoffrey, who's winning, and what's your final score prediction?
I haven't even given this any thought. I'm gonna do a weird score because we just talked about that
2
being
for 2.
a thing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go, and I think this is the game that sets up the game after the bye week being the one everyone is looking at. I think we beat the Seahawks 30-11 and put everyone on notice. And then all of a sudden the Steelers are facing the Browns and everyone's like, ooh, who's the better team here?
Like the game
we don't know.
Year, honestly, for the Steelers. Yeah. Winning that game sets you up to go to the playoffs. Losing that game, I hate to put that much pressure on a week 8 game, but that's kind of what
think
it
about the
like.
next
that's
2
down
games.
The road, but still, yeah.
The next 2 games, the Steelers could be 2-5. You're done.
Yeah.
Or the Steelers could be 4-3, and you are more than alive. You are
7
looking
playoff
good.
Spots?
You're set. You're on path to winning the division.
You got a real chance.
Yeah.
You put yourself in position if you can win this game, come off the bye and knock off the Browns in Cleveland.
What do you think about it? The best Cleveland could be would be 4-3. If we beat them if we win this game and after the bye we beat them, they're 4-3.
That's pretty big. Now, continuing along here with my score prediction, a week ago I said I would not pick the Steelers until the offense could prove me otherwise. Well, guess what? The offense went out that week and proved me otherwise. So all of a sudden I'm going from I'm going to pick against the Steelers for the foreseeable future to, guess what? Back on that train. I am picking the Steelers to win. I was also hoping to be the one that was like, oh, yeah, Steelers in an emphatic victory. I'm going to pick the Steelers 27, Seattle 14. Steelers by 2 scores. Honestly, Sunday night primetime football at home. I don't know. I think Najee Harris gets in a couple times too. I really feel like this is going to be the one where it's like, oh, okay, offensive rookie of the year, Najee Harris.
You said the main words though. Where's the game?
In Pittsburgh.
And when is it played?
At night, primetime. They typically win those, and they typically struggle against.
That's
the
a Mike Tomlin team in primetime. That's Ben Roethlisberger on national television. He's gonna have a good game. This is gonna be his best game of the year.
Dials it up online.
Yeah.
Oh, now we are at the end of our show. So, Geoffrey, is there any film rooms or anything the people need to know about? Tell us about your latest cutting room floor.
Oh yeah, my podcast. I talked about. What did I talk about this time? I talked about
Steelers probably and film.
I talked about the Steelers. I talked about players who did well that was kind of unexpected. People that were underrated, like James Pierre, after struggling a bit in the game, having 2 huge pass defenses late in the game, including the game-clinching touchdown. Interception to thwart a touchdown. Henry Mondeau coming out and playing well. Zach Gentry's, coming out, leading the team and leading the tight end room and receiving. I talked about all of that. I've got a film room with Dave Schofield. The Vertex is coming out, and it is on the inside linebackers, talking about Joe Schobert, who just played his best game as a Steeler. Worth watching. The guy had a great game. And I had a film room a little bit ago this week with covering Matt Canada's usage of Zach Gentry and how he set up one of the best plays I've seen in a while with Zach Gentry's screen. That was a phenomenal play. 13 yards to Zach Gentry. It was completely orchestrated by our how we run our offense. And I keep running these things because I want people to see Matt Canada's offense, because when it works, it's not flashy. It's just someone you don't expect gains 10 yards, and it throws the defense for a loop. With that, I also want to recommend, go check out Kevin Smith's article he did this week on the offensive line play, and which again covers Matt Canada's offense too. It's That was phenomenal film room. Really, really good stuff.
No, excellent. And I want to remind everyone to just click over to behindthesteelcurtain.com as it is. You'll find everything there from Geoffrey and KT's film rooms. Seriously, there's so much great stuff from breaking news, injury reports, commentary, you name it. It's available at behindthesteelcurtain.com. And if you're right now, you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you're only getting like a third of the podcasts that are available from BTSC. So make sure you're clicking over to your Spotify app or Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher, wherever you happen to list your podcast to. Hit that subscribe button, like, 5-star. Just do whatever you can to make sure you're dialed into our content. And on top of that, if you support us, it lets us make more great Pittsburgh Steelers content for you. So on behalf of my co-host, Geoffrey Benedict, my name is Michael Beck. Thank you for tuning in to Know Your Enemy. We'll catch you guys next week.